What if Tabitha was never chosen by the town? What if she was recognized by it? That sounds like a small difference. But in From, small differences change everything. Because if the town simply chooses random people, then Tabitha is another victim trying to survive. But if the town already knows her, then every child she has ever seen, every vision she has ever experienced, and every impossible coincidence surrounding her stop being coincidences. They become evidence. And here's what changes everything. Everyone believes the mystery of From is about monsters. Some people think it's about the boy in white. Others believe Victor holds all the answers. But that's not the real mystery. The real mystery is why the children keep reaching out to only a handful of people and why Tabitha has become the center of nearly every encounter connected to them. Look at what the show is actually telling us. The children never behave like ordinary ghosts. They don't attack. They don't speak normally. They don't beg for help the way trapped spirits usually do. Instead, they guide. They appear for only moments. They disappear before anyone fully understands them, almost like they're following rules. And somehow, Tabitha keeps ending up exactly where they want her to be. That's not luck. That's a pattern. And in a show built entirely on patterns, nothing matters more than repetition. This is the detail everyone missed. People keep asking who the children are. But almost nobody asks a far more dangerous question. Why is Tabitha the one they're trying to reach? Because once you ask that question, the entire story starts pointing in a completely different direction. Think about every major turning point in Tabitha's journey. She isn't just surviving the town. She's being pulled deeper into its oldest secrets. She discovers hidden places. She uncovers buried truths. She follows voices that no one else understands. Again and again, the children become part of her path. Notice something strange. Other characters experience visions. Jade sees symbols. Sarah hears voices. Elgin dreams. Victor remembers fragments. Each character receives one specific kind of connection. But Tabitha, she keeps crossing between worlds. That makes her different, not stronger. Different. And difference matters in From, because every special ability seems connected to one larger system. The town doesn't give random visions. It assigns roles. Boyd became the protector. Jade became the investigator. Sarah became the listener. Victor became the memory. So, what if Tabitha's role has been hiding in plain sight all along? What if she's the bridge? Not between life and death. Not between reality and dreams. But between the children and everyone else. That changes everything. Because bridges aren't built for themselves. They're built so someone can cross. So, ask yourself this. Who is trying to cross? The children? Or something using the children? And this is where it gets darker. Most fans assume the children need rescuing. But the show has never actually confirmed that. It only lets us assume it. That's a huge difference. Every time Tabitha follows them, she moves closer to another mystery, never closer to an answer. It's almost as if the children aren't leading her toward freedom. They're leading her toward a destination. Think back to how the town behaves. Whenever someone gets close to understanding something, the town reacts. People die. The weather changes. New horrors appear. Reality itself seems to fight back. It's almost defensive, almost intelligent. Now compare that with the children. They don't stop appearing. No matter how dangerous things become, they continue reaching for Tabitha.
Why?
Because whatever they're trying to accomplish is more important than the town's attempts to stop it.
Or
the town actually wants it to happen. That possibility should terrify everyone. Because if the town allows these meetings, then maybe the children are not acting against it. Maybe they're acting within its rules. And if that's true, then Tabitha isn't breaking the system. She's following a path that was prepared for her long before she ever entered the town. Look at the timing. Nothing in From happens randomly. Characters arrive when the story needs them. People discover clues at strangely perfect moments. Objects appear exactly when they're required. Even Victor often remembers something only after another piece has already fallen into place. The town feels less like a location and more like a story unfolding chapter by chapter. If that's true, then Tabitha isn't simply another character. She's becoming the next chapter. This is the detail everyone missed. The children never force her. They invite her. That's psychologically important. Real manipulation rarely uses force. It creates the illusion of choice. Every step Tabitha takes feels voluntary. She believes she's making her own decisions. But what if every decision has already been anticipated? What if every road she's walked was designed before she ever arrived? That would explain something fans have struggled with since the beginning. Why does Tabitha repeatedly end up at the center of impossible discoveries while everyone else spends years searching without success? Luck cannot explain that. Courage cannot explain that. Even intelligence cannot explain that. Only one possibility remains. She was always meant to find them. Not because she's the hero, but because she's connected to them in a way no one has realized yet. And if that's true, then every child we've seen may not be separate victims at all. They may all recognize the same person, Tabitha, not as a stranger, but as someone they've been waiting for. But here's what changes everything. If every child recognizes Tabitha, then the biggest question isn't, who are the children? It's, how do they already know her? At first, that sounds impossible. Tabitha had never been to the town before. She had no memories of those children. She arrived just like everyone else. So how could there be any connection? Unless the connection didn't begin when she entered the town. Look at what the show is actually telling us. From constantly blurs the line between time, memory, and reality. Victor remembers events that happened decades ago, yet they still shape the present. Jade keeps seeing symbols from another era. Boyd encounters Martin in a place where time doesn't seem to exist. Julie experiences story walking, proving that the past and present are not as separate as they appear. The show has quietly introduced one terrifying possibility. Some connections exist outside normal time. And, if that's true, Tabitha may have become connected to the children long before she ever met them. That sounds impossible. But From has already shown us that impossible things are often the real rules of the town. This is the detail everyone missed. Whenever Tabitha encounters the children, the scenes are strangely calm. Compare those moments to the monsters. The monsters create panic. The children create silence. The monsters chase. The children wait. The monsters smile. The children stare. Why? Because they serve completely different purposes. One group creates fear. The other creates direction. That's an important distinction. If the children wanted to harm Tabitha, they have had countless opportunities. Instead, they keep leading her, almost as if she's the only person capable of reaching a place they cannot. And this is where it gets darker. Think about motherhood in From. The show repeatedly connects mothers with protection, sacrifice, and impossible choices. Tabitha's identity as a mother isn't just emotional background. It keeps influencing how she reacts to every mystery. She cannot ignore children in danger. She cannot walk away from cries for help. She cannot convince herself they're only visions. The town understands that. What if that's exactly why it responds to her? Not because she's emotionally weak. Because she's emotionally predictable. Every system has a key. Every lock has something designed to open it. Tabitha's compassion may be the key the town has been waiting to use. That completely changes how we view every encounter. The children may not simply appear because Tabitha can see them. They may appear because they know she will always follow. That's psychological manipulation at its highest level. Not controlling someone's actions. Controlling the reason behind those actions. And From loves that kind of manipulation. Look at Sarah. She believed she was saving everyone. Look at Boyd. He believed he was protecting everyone. Look at Jade. He believes knowledge alone can solve everything. Every major character thinks they're acting freely. Yet the town keeps steering them toward outcomes they never expected. So, why would Tabitha be different? She wouldn't. But her path feels different because it's built on hope instead of fear. Hope is much easier to trust. That's why it's more dangerous. Now think about the lighthouse. For many viewers, it represented escape. A destination. A possible exit. But did it actually free anyone? Or did it simply move Tabitha into another stage of the same game? That's not the real mystery. The real mystery is why the town allowed her to leave at all. The town has trapped countless people. So, why would it suddenly release the one person most connected to its hidden children? That doesn't make sense. Unless, leaving was never escaping. Leaving was part of the plan. Read that again. If the town wanted Tabitha somewhere else, then every terrifying event leading to the lighthouse wasn't a failure. It was a carefully guided route. That possibility changes every scene she experiences afterward. Even outside the town, she's unable to leave the mystery behind. She continues finding clues. She continues being pulled back. Reality refuses to let her disconnect, almost as though the town's reach extends far beyond its borders. If that's true, then From isn't trapping people inside one location. It's trapping them inside one story. And Tabitha may be the only character who's walked through multiple chapters of that story. This is the detail everyone missed. Notice how often Victor watches Tabitha. Not with fear. Not with suspicion. With recognition. Victor rarely trusts newcomers. He's spent years learning that trusting people usually ends in tragedy. Yet something about Tabitha feels familiar to him.
Why?
Maybe Victor doesn't remember her. Maybe he remembers someone exactly like her. Someone who also followed the children. Someone who also believed they could save them. Someone who disappeared before finishing whatever they started. Victor's memories are broken. But broken memories often hide complete truths. What if Tabitha isn't the first bridge? What if she's simply the newest one? That would explain why the children never panic when they see her. They don't react like they've found someone unexpected. They react like they've been waiting for someone to return. And that is a terrifying difference. Because waiting suggests expectation. Expectation suggests history. And history suggests this has happened before. Again, and again, and again. The town may not be repeating random tragedies. It may be repeating the exact same cycle with different people filling the same roles. Boyd inherited someone else's burden. Jade inherited someone else's obsession. Victor inherited someone else's memories. So, what did Tabitha inherit? Not a house. Not a vision. Not a curse. A relationship. A relationship with every child the town refuses to let go. And if every cycle needs someone to answer the children, then the real question isn't whether Tabitha will keep following them. The real question is whether following them is exactly what the town has always wanted. Because if the children are connected to every cycle, then Tabitha may already be walking toward a fate that was decided long before she was ever born. And the most terrifying part, she may believe it's entirely her own choice. But here's what changes everything. If Tabitha is connected to every child, then the children themselves may not be the final mystery. They may be the evidence. Evidence that the town has been repeating the same story for generations. Think about how From treats history. The show never presents the past as something finished. It keeps returning. Old symbols return. Old locations return. Old mistakes return. Even people begin repeating decisions made by those who came before them. This isn't coincidence. It's design. The town doesn't just trap people. It recreates them. And this is where it gets darker. Every cycle seems to need certain roles. A protector. A seeker.
A guide.
A witness. And maybe a mother. Not because the town values motherhood, but because children instinctively trust a mother more than anyone else. Look at what the show is actually telling us. The children never chase Boyd. They never surround Jade. They never desperately seek Victor. Yet they continue drawing Tabitha closer.
Why?
Because she represents something none of the others can. Comfort. Safety.
Hope.
The very emotions the town constantly destroys. That contradiction feels intentional. What better way to manipulate someone than by using the thing they love most? For Tabitha, that has always been children. Not just Ethan. Every child in danger. Every innocent life. Every helpless victim. Her compassion isn't just part of her personality. It's the mechanism through which the mystery operates. This is the detail everyone missed. Notice how often Tabitha risks everything without asking what the cost might be. That's heroic. But it's also predictable. And predictable people are the easiest to guide. The town doesn't need to force Tabitha anywhere. It only needs to place one frightened child in front of her. She'll do the rest. That's terrifying because it means her greatest strength may also be her greatest weakness. Now, let's ask the question almost nobody wants to ask. What if saving the children is impossible? Not because Tabitha isn't brave enough, but because the children aren't waiting to be rescued. They're waiting for someone to replace them. That sounds horrifying. But Fromm has quietly explored the idea of replacement since the beginning. People die. New people arrive. One role ends. Another begins. The town never stays empty for long. It's almost balancing itself. So, why should the children be any different? What if they're not simply trapped souls? What if they're the final stage of every failed cycle? Imagine that for a moment. Every generation produces one person who follows the children. Every generation believes they're about to break the curse. Every generation gets closer than the last. And every generation disappears before reaching the truth, until another person arrives. To start again. That possibility completely changes how we should view Tabitha. She isn't just fighting the town. She may be fighting history itself. And history is much harder to defeat. Because history learns. Every cycle teaches the town something new. Every failure improves the trap. Every sacrifice strengthens the system. Think about the monsters. They rarely seem surprised anymore. They've seen fear before. They've seen resistance before. They've seen hope before. It's almost as though they've watched this exact story unfold countless times. If the monsters remember previous cycles, who says the children don't? And if the children remember, then maybe that's why they recognized Tabitha immediately. Not because they knew her name, because they knew her role. That changes everything. The children may not see Tabitha as one individual. They may see her as the next bridge, the next mother, the next person destined to continue the cycle. And this is where the theory becomes truly terrifying. What if the boy in white understands all of this? He's always appeared at critical moments, never saying too much, never giving complete answers. Only enough information to move people one step forward.
Why?
Maybe because revealing the entire truth would destroy the cycle too early. Or maybe he's trapped inside the same rules, helping where he can, but unable to stop what's already been written. That would explain his sadness. He's not watching strangers suffer. He's watching the same tragedy happen again, and again, and again. Now go back to the beginning of Tabitha's story. Every vision, every child, every impossible coincidence, every path she followed. Viewed separately, they look random. Viewed together, they form a single line. A line leading toward one unavoidable conclusion. Tabitha was never randomly chosen by the children. She was always connected to them. Whether through fate, a repeating cycle, a forgotten history, or something even older than the town itself. Everything we've seen points in that direction. Not because the show has confirmed it, but because the clues become stronger every season. Every answer creates another connection. Every connection creates another pattern. And in From, patterns are never accidents. They're warnings. So here's the prediction. Season May 4th finally reveal that the children have never been asking Tabitha to save them. They've been preparing her to reach a place no one else could, preparing her to uncover the truth hidden beneath every previous cycle. But that truth may come with an impossible choice. If ending the cycle means sacrificing herself, would Tabitha do it? Or is the real horror that sacrificing herself is exactly what the town has wanted from the very beginning? Because if that's true, then the children weren't calling her for help. They were calling her home. And if Tabitha is connected to every child, then one terrifying question still remains. When the next child reaches out, will it be asking for a rescue or welcoming the next person into the cycle?